Hi everyone, Alan here again. Good morning. Um, we'll get going in a minute. Just as usual, just give a couple of minutes for people to join and get set up. I can see we've 23, yeah, joining us so far. So just while we're waiting, I'll call out some of the names of who we have. So Vinia just joined, Danny Mac, MF83, Minecraft, Striped Guitar, Jack, Aoife, Piper, the Jack, Sixt 96, Aoife, Flower 123, Coder Kid, Landlord 656, Tara, Maraid, Tractor 123, Star Behan, Ruby Red, Coding Club. So hopefully I got everyone there. Oz Teen just joined in. So today what we're going to be doing is a project in Scratch. It's quite a cool one. We're going to program an autonomous car, so a car to drive around different tracks that we design ourselves. So we're not going to be controlling the car. We're going to program it and give it instructions to be able to work its way around tracks all by itself. So you might have seen from the very first step there, we have a little YouTube video on Tesla cars. So they have autopilots. So they have loads of different sensors that let them drive around without input from the driver, so without instructions from the driver. So the car actually just doing the driving themselves. So I'll just give it another minute or so before we start. So we did, during the week, we put up a hidden Easter egg game, and I just want to know if people actually found out where it was. So if you did find the hidden Easter egg game on our website, click on the green thumbs up. If you didn't, click on the red thumbs down, just to give me an idea of how many found it. MF83 did find it. I'll show you where it is for those who didn't find it in a second. Landlord found it. Aoife found it. Striped Guitar found it. Vinia found it. Minecraft didn't. So I'll show you where it is. So on any of the pages of the Coding Club, if you scroll right down to the bottom, here, let me switch to full screen. If you scroll right down to the bottom, where you get this white bar here, we have different links for YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and so on, but here we put in a little Easter egg. If you click on that Easter egg, it'll open up the hidden game. So there's a game there, a Scratch game for catching Easter eggs. Just a little bonus project if anyone wants to do that. Okay, so we're up to 27 people. It's 3 minutes past 11. So I think we'll get going. So again, I'll just show you very quickly what we're going to be doing today. So it's just a Scratch project. So I drew a track, very simple oval track or a box track, and I have my car. And you might notice that the car has little kind of red, blue, and orange kind of spikes at the front of it. These are to act as sensors, and I've programmed this already. So when I click it, so see my hands are up here, I'm not touching anything. It's driving around the track itself using the sensors. So when the sensors touch into the side, it knows it needs to turn on what side it needs to turn. Sometimes it runs off the track, and when it does, I've programmed it to kind of reverse and go back onto the track. And I've actually put in a few different tracks. So that's just a kind of figure of 8 track, racetrack or road. And here's one a little bit more complicated. I can also program, I can also change the speed. So you see the speed is at 4 at the moment. I can go down and go slow, or I can go fast, which will probably mean it'll crash off the track a good few times. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so the very first step is just some information on how an autonomous car works. So autonomous just means, working by itself, able to work by itself. So in the picture here, we'll see an autonomous car, and it's got different sensors. So autonomous cars like Teslas, they have loads of different sensors, kind of like radar, it's called LiDAR, but they also use GPS, so they know exactly where they are, and they have different cameras all the way around, just taking pictures of all the way around the car, and using those, all those pictures go into the central car's computer, and that works out where it is in relation to everything around it. So I'm going to just play the YouTube video here. So this video here just shows an actual car, a Tesla car, driving itself. So we can see here the driver's hands are not touching the pedals, and his feet aren't touching the pedals rather, and his hands are not touching the wheel. It's working by itself. And over here on the right hand side, we see some of the car's sensors, so what the car is seeing. Now this video is obviously speeded up, that's why it's kind of going so fast, but we can see here in the middle, the kind of red and pink, it can work out where the road is, the lines on the road, so it knows what side. This is in America, so they're driving on the right hand side. Up the top here, it's kind of picking out different objects, so this is behind the car, and here is also behind the car. So you can see the little blue boxes and green boxes as it goes by things. It's just picking out pedestrians and cars and things like that. So that's actually how a real autonomous car works. So I'm going to mark that step as done, get my badge. Okay, so that's what we're basically going to be doing, but so programming a car like that, but doing it in Scratch. So the very first step, actually before I jump into the very first step, so just to give the instructions of how these code alongs normally work. So you are seeing me up here in this small little box. The way it works is I'm going to demonstrate a step, so show you how to do the code. When I do that, you just go into full screen. So I'm not playing the video at the moment, but you will be playing it. So go into full screen, and so you'll see my screen and get a good clear picture of what I'm doing. And then when I finish the step, you come out of full screen, go into your Scratch tab and start working away. And then come back and mark the step as done. Okay, so the second step, the first step was just looking at that Tesla car. So the second step is we're going to create a Scratch project. So to do that, we're going to click on the link here. That'll open up a second tab. So you'll have two tabs open, a tab of the instructions and then a tab of Scratch. And then if you click on the Create button up the very top of Scratch, it's going to open up the Scratch project editor. If you're not logged into Scratch, it kind of opens up a little tutorial box down here. You can close that. And by default, it adds in the cat sprite. We don't need the cat sprite, so we're going to click on the little trash icon, and that will get rid of the cat. So if you want to go ahead and do that, step number 2. So to open up the Scratch website and delete the cat sprite. So open up Scratch website, click on Create, and then delete the cat sprite, and then come back here. And then we'll move on to step number 3. So we have 34 coders. Ninja joined. Anyone else? Isabel B joined. Just looking for names that I haven't called out already. Ailish, not sure if I called you out already, is here. Luna is here. Jimbo 19, the 20 Pro is here. Okay. So we have 21 coders have completed that step. That's quite a simple step, just opening up the website and creating the new project. So we're going to move on to the third step, and that is we're going to add in the car sprite. So as we know, in Scratch, it has its own library of different sprites, different characters and so on, but we're going to add in our own one here. So this one is a car, and it's a bird's eye view of a car. So we're viewing it from the top down. And what I've put on the front of it are 3 ellipses, 3 kind of shapes. So we have a red one on the left-hand side, a blue one in the middle at the front, and then an orange one on the right-hand side. And we're going to use these in Scratch to detect what the car is touching, and then do different things. So either keep on driving or turn around based on which sensor is touching the side of the road. So what we want to do is add this to our project. So we're going to need to save this image onto our computers first. So save it from the website onto our computers, and then we upload it into Scratch. So to save it, you just right click on the image here in the step, and then click on Save Image As. That'll open up a box just asking you what folder on your computer you want to save it in. So I'm going to save mine in Downloads. You can put it on your desktop or wherever you want. So click Save, and then switch across to Scratch, and down the bottom right we are going to add a sprite, but we're going to choose to upload a sprite, which is the kind of arrow pointing up. If you click on that, it'll open up this box where you can choose, you need to go to where you saved the image. So I'm in my Downloads folder, so click on the image and then click on Open, and then it'll add it to the stage area there, and that's it uploaded into Scratch, ready to go. So if you all want to go ahead and do that now, step number 3, and then come back and mark it done. Excuse me. I can see 1 or 2 coders are kind of working ahead. That's no problem. Go at your own pace if you want to work ahead. If I'm going a little bit too slow from you, that's no problem. Work ahead. And those who want to come along with me, come along with me. As usual, we're going to leave all the code along up here. We actually have a new section on our website where we're going to just list out all the previous code alongs, so all the instructions of the projects together with the videos. So they'll always be available there if you ever want to come back and do them. Okay, so how are we doing? We have 15 coders have completed that step. So I'll just give a little bit more time. So again, what you need to do is save the image onto your computer. So right click on the image that's in the step here in step number 3. Click on Save Image As, and that will save the image file onto your computer. So you got to choose a folder, choose a location on your computer, and then switch across to Scratch and upload the image as a new sprite. So find that folder that you saved it in and then choose the image. Okay, so we will move on to step number 4. So step number 4 is quite simply, we're just going to shrink the car. So when we uploaded the car, it's quite large. It takes up most of the stage area. We want it small, so when we draw a track, it'll fit down the road. So we're just going to shrink it down to 10% of its size. So we're going to add in just two code blocks. When green flag clicked, so into the events toolbox, and when green flag clicked, let me zoom in a little bit here. When green flag clicked, and then into the looks toolbox, and we're going to get a set size to 100% and click that in below the when green flag clicked, but change 100 to 10. So when I click on the green flag to run this code, you can see my car shrinks right down. So if you want to go ahead and do that step number 4 to shrink the car, and then come back and mark it as done and get your points and get your awards. So the next step that we're going to be doing, once we'll give people a couple of minutes to do the shrinking of the car, but the next step after that is we're going to draw our own race track for the car to drive around. Okay, so how are we doing? We have 14 coders have completed that step. So Aoife has done it. Danny Mac has done step number 3. So keep going, Danny. The Jack has done it. Erica has done it. Striped Guitar has. Tractor 123. Ruby Red. Jimbo has done step number 3. Coder Kid has done step number 2. So just keep going at your own pace and work your way through the steps. Again, if I go too fast, I'm trying to just go at a pace in between the kind of middle of everyone. So if I'm going too fast, that's okay. The instructions are going to stay up there for you to do. Okay, we've 20 coders have completed the shrink the car step. So we'll move on to the next step is step number 5. We're going to draw a test track. So we're going to paint a backdrop. And what we're going to do is, there's a couple of ways to do it. We can fill it in a green color for the grass, and then we'll get the paintbrush and draw it, or we can just draw a green box. So if you want to go into full screen, I'll show you how we do this. So I'm going to click on let's get rid of my head. I'm going to click on the stage backdrops box here so that it goes blue, has the blue border around it. And then I'm going to go up and click on the backdrops tab up here, the top left. And this will open up the backdrops editor here. So as I said, there's a couple of ways to do it. We could use the paint bucket to fill it in a green, and you'd need to convert it to a bitmap first if you wanted to do that, or you can just draw a green box. So I'm going to select if I zoom in, I'm going to select the rectangle tool here, and then I'm going to choose what color. So I'm going to use this little color tool to choose a green. So there's a green there. And then I'm also going to say no outline. So if I zoom in, you click on the outline tool here and choose this line through it. So what this does is when you're drawing a box, you can put a border around it. So you can actually see in my image here of my camera, there's a green border. If you want, when you're drawing a box, you can choose what color the border is around it, but we don't want one, so I'm just going to have no border, and that's what that line through it is. So all I need to do is, so we can see the kind of box here of the stage area. So this is what fits on the screen. So if I just go outside that, hold down my left mouse button and drag across, that'll draw a box that's bigger than the kind of view area of the stage. If I was to get the selection tool here and kind of drag it across, you'll see now I've got a white area in my stage, but once it's over that kind of view area, then it covers the whole stage. So that's my green of my grass, and then I'm going to choose the paintbrush tool, and we're going to choose black for road. So I just get my brightness all the way down to 0, and that will choose black. And instead, so this is the size here. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing you. So this here is the size. So this number says 10 at the moment, and it's the size of the paintbrush. I want to go all the way up to 90. And you'll see now that my paintbrush is a lot bigger. So we'll just start off and do a simple enough track. So if you just kind of do an oval track all the way around, like so. I'm actually going to drag mine up a little bit because I want green edges all the way around to make sure that the sensors work. So if you want to go ahead now, if you haven't already, to draw your racetrack. So again, you want green grass or whatever color you want of the ground, and then maybe a black road. It's probably best to do the same colors that I'm doing, just because when I'm calling out the instructions, they'll be a little bit easier to follow when your colors are the same as mine. So some type of green grass, and then draw a black road in just a kind of oval shape all the way around. We'll start off with a simple shape, and then we'll add some more complicated tracks at the end if we have some more time. So let me see, what did I get? I'm after getting a train original. Okay, so I can see that 27 coders completed the shrink the car step, so well done. So you're all onto the draw the test track step. So again, take your time, just green background and then a black racetrack around. If you kind of mess up when you're drawing your road and the racetrack, and if you mess it up a little bit, there's a couple of things you can do. There's an undo button. It's a kind of little arrow pointing to the left that will undo the last step that you did, or when you click it, it'll just keep on undoing the steps that you did. Or if you want, you can always select, so using the arrow tool, you can select your racetrack, and you can actually just delete it by clicking on the delete button up up the top or pressing the delete button on your keyboard, and then you're able to just start again and just draw it again. So no problem if you do make a mistake, you can just try and fix it or start again. Okay, so how are we doing? 14 coders have completed that step, so I'll give it a little bit more time so people can do it. So while everyone is just completing it, I'm just going to check how many steps are in this. So there is 12 steps in this project, in this lesson. We're on step number 5 now that we're doing. And then at the end, what we might do is, if we have some extra time, we might add in something extra, like put in some extra tracks, some extra race tracks into it. So step number 5. Back up. Okay, we're up to 18 coders, so I'll just give a little bit more time just for people to finish that step. It's probably one of the trickiest steps in this lesson, is just drawing that track. Especially if you're not used to using the editor, it just takes a little bit of time to get used to it. The editor can be used to create your own backdrops, to create your own sprites. You can even edit sprites that you upload or that you get from the library. You can change the colors, add different things in it, and you can do all that using the editor. It's actually quite a powerful tool. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we're up to 19 coders have completed that. I'll wait till we get to 20 and then I'll move on to step number 6. So while we're waiting, actually, let's just have a quick look at the leaderboards. So if you ever want to go have a look at the leaderboards, you can click leaderboards up the very top of the coding club, and it'll show you your school's leaderboard. So we've coding clubs with schools, with libraries. There's a Coding Ireland coding club. So you can go in there and see what the leaderboards are for today, and then for the last week, the last 7 days. So there's 2 different categories of leaderboards it'll show you. It'll show you your age group, and then it'll also show you for all ages. So I can see here that Isabel B is in the all ages leaderboard, it's the top, and then Adam B, Tomry, Jack, Moon 11, 1B, Erica, Mr. Krabby Paddy, Danny Mac, Epic, and Starbean are all on the top 10. So well done to all those. So those leaderboards change every day, so and every week. So you always have a chance to get up to the top of the leaderboards. Okay, so how are we doing? Brilliant. So we're up to 22 people, 22 coders have completed that step. So I'm going to move on, and again, I'll give more time. You'll have time at the end to catch up if I'm moving a little bit too fast for you. Okay, so we're after drawing our track. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to place our car where we want it to start on our track, and then put in some code so that every time we click on the green flag, that's where the car starts. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my car here in the stage list, so I'm giving code to the car, and then I'm going to drag my car onto my track because I want it to start in that position. And then I'm going to go into the motion toolbox, and I'm going to get a go to XY block. And as you can see, the go to XY block has the numbers already filled out in it for where my car currently is. So the go to XY, the XY are the coordinates of what position the sprite is on the stage area. So you can see if I drag my car, you'll see that my go to XY blocks, the numbers in it update, the values update. So that's why we drag the car into the position we want first before we add the go to XY block. So we're going to start it there, and I'm also going to get a pointing direction 90 block and put it down the bottom, and that means it's going to point to the right hand side here at the start. So if I was to move it down here and I was to change the stay on page please, if I was to change the direction of it, when I click on the green flag, it jumps back up to the position I want, pointing in the direction I want. So if you want to go ahead and add in those two code blocks, so you want to drag your car into the starting position where you want it to start on the track, and then you want to drag in the go to XY block from the motion toolbox, and then get a point in direction 90, so it starts off going to the right. Okay, so I can see 23 completed the last step, so well done everyone. You can keep on going. So I'll call out some of the names of the people that are, as they're completing their steps, and have a look at the badges that they're earning. So Tara got a bookmark, Vinia got a soccer ball. Let's have a look at that. It's from the sports series. Tractor123 got a squirrel rare. Adam B got a keyboard rare. So you can click on any of these if people are waiting, if you ever want to have a look at any of the awards. Oh, Stripes Guitar got a gamepad legendary from the Gamer series. Erica got a telescope. Flower123 got an elephant original. The Jack got a boxing glove. That's pretty cool. A legendary one. Isabel B got a hollyberry that's from the Christmas series. So telescope, oh, I've called that one out already. Quote left, a racket, mask, deer, legendary, truck, pickup truck from the vehicle series. Very good. So what are we up to? We're up to 22 coders have completed the step number 6. So I'll just give it a little bit more time and then we will move on to step number 7. So in step number 7, we're just going to create, in step number 7, we're just going to create a speed variable. And we're going to use that speed variable for determining what speed you go around the track. Okay, so we'll move on to that now. So step number 7, create a speed variable. So it's quite easy. We're just going to go into Scratch. We're going to go into the variables toolbox. Click on make a variable and a box will open up asking you what you want to call your variable. So we're just going to call it speed, S-P-E-E-D, and then click on OK. And that will add in the speed variable into the variables toolbox. And what we're going to do is just get a set my variable to 0. And we're going to put that in under point and direction. And instead of my variable, we are going to click on the little white arrow and change that to speed. And we'll start off with 5. So set speed to 5. So if you want to go ahead and do that, go into the variables toolbox, click on make a variable, type in speed, S-P-E-E-D, and then drag in a set speed to, or sorry, it'll say set my variable to 0. If you drag that in and put it at the bottom of your code, change it so it sets speed to, and then change 0 to 5. And then once you've done that, come back and mark the step as done and get your points. Okay, so I see some people are testing out the green and red thumbs up and thumbs down. What we normally use these for is every now and again I might ask a question, and it's a good way of people saying yes or no and letting me know. So let me see, so step number 7, I'm just waiting for the stats to come in to see how many have done it. So I can see that 25 coders have completed step number 6, so well done. Okay, so here we go. So step number 7, 21 coders have completed it already. Brilliant. Okay. So I'll just give a little bit more time and then we'll move on to step number 8. So in the next steps, what we're going to do now is we're going to actually start programming the car to move. So far it's just been sitting there on the track, and now we're going to actually use the sensors on it to actually detect where it is on the track and then decide what to do. So whether to move forward, turn left or turn right, or even reverse if it runs off the track. Okay, so let's do the step number 8, driving forward. So what we're going to do is we're going to use, as I said, we're going to use the sensors to determine where it is on the track. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a forever block and an if-then block. And inside the if-then block, we are going to, let me zoom in here a little bit. Inside, so we're going to add this forever block underneath the set speed to 5 because we forever want to do this. We forever want to keep on checking if the blue sensor, which is the, if I scroll up and open up here, the blue sensor, which is the front one in the middle, if that is touching the black, let me scroll back down, the black of the road, then we want to just move forward. And the amount of steps forward we want to move is our speed variable, which is 5. So let me switch across to Scratch. So I'm going to go into the control toolbox. I'm going to get a forever block, put it down the bottom, get an if then, put it inside the forever. Then go into the sensing toolbox. Now you need to be careful here. There's a touching color block. That's not the one we want. We want to get the color is touching color block that has the 2 colors inside it, because we're detecting if the black of the sprite, of the car sprite, is touching the blue of the car sprite is touching the black of the road. Now to choose the colors, it's going to be quite hard because we've made our car quite small. So what you can do is in the size here, let me zoom in a little bit here. Oh, no. Here we go. So when you, let me scroll up a little bit. There we go. So when you have a sprite selected, you've loads of different properties you can set on it, and you can actually set the size to be what you want. So I'm going to set it back to 100 and click outside so that it goes big again. And the reason I do that is when I want to get the blue of the sensor into here. So let me zoom back out. When I click on the color and then click on the eyedropper tool, I can go across and get the blue here and then blue of the sensor, and then we just want to get the black of the car. Now the car will automatically go back to set size 10% once I click on the green flag because we have that code in there. And then the last thing we want to do is go into the motion toolbox, get a move 10 steps. Oh, let me drag this across so you can see where I'm putting it. Put that inside the if then, and then into the variables toolbox, and we'll get the speed variable and put that inside the move 10 steps. So now when I click on the green flag, we'll see that the car drives. So it's detecting that it's on the road. It's sensing it's on the road. The blue is touching the blue sensor is touching the black of the road. So it moves forward at 5, which is the speed variable, 5 steps. So if you want to go ahead and do that step. So you're going to go into the control toolbox and you're going to get a forever block, because you want this to happen forever. You want to forever keep on checking if the blue sensor is touching the black of the road. Then you want to get an if then block and put that inside the forever. And then into the sensing toolbox and get the third one down, which is the color is touching color block, and put that inside the if, the gap, the little shape in the if then. And you want to choose the blue sensor in the first color and then the black of the road in the second color in that block. And again, if you want to, the best way to be able to get the blue of the sensor, because you have to get the exact color, is to make the car 100%. So go click into the size box in the kind of properties area of the sprite and set that to 100 instead of 10. and that'll make your car go big, so you'll be able to choose the blue. Okay, so I'm just going to jump back and mark my step as done. Oh, I got a DNA badge, legendary, from the science series, and we'll see how people are getting on. So again, take your time, especially with the choosing of the colors, because you do need to choose the exact colors. You can't just kind of guess the blue. It has to be the exact blue and then the exact black of the road. So take your time and just make sure you get the right ones. And then you're going to get a move 10 steps and put that inside the if then, and then get the speed variable from the variables toolbox and put that in instead of the 10. So it's move speed steps. Okay, brilliant. So 21 coders have completed that step already. The Jack got a snowmobile. That's pretty awesome. Minecraft got a cat in space. Ruby Red got a UFO, a legendary. Adam B got a cauldron from the Halloween series. Ozteen got Fire Smoke from the Outdoor series. My favourite series, I think, is Space, which is a new one, but after that I like the Outdoor ones. There's some really cool badges in there. Okay, so how are we doing? Still 21. I'll maybe give it a little bit more time. The next couple of steps, so we've just programmed it, or we are just programming it to move forward. So the next couple of steps, we're going to program it to turn right and then to turn left. Okay, we're up to 22 coders have completed that. Okay, I'll just give it a little bit more time. What time are we at? 11:37. Okay, we actually might move along. Oh, just while we're waiting, as usual, we're going to do a giveaway in this code along. Sorry, I didn't mention at the start. So we're going to give away one of a microbit. So if you don't know what a microbit is, it's a little small microcomputer. It's a little small microcomputer that you can program. It's got LEDs. If I can get it to focus. No, focus isn't playing with me today. Okay, you can get it, you can program it to do loads of different things. It's got LEDs, it's got buttons, it's got loads of different sensors, compass, thermometer, accelerometer. What an accelerometer is, it measures movement. So like if you think about Fitbits, they have accelerometers in them that can detect when they move up and down, and that's what they use to count your steps, that movement. So this has one of those sensors in there as well. It has Bluetooth, so it can actually send messages. If you have two of them, you can send messages back and forth. So they're really cool things. So we'll pick a coder at the end out of all the coders that complete it, and we'll send the microbit off. Okay, we're up to 23 coders. So we'll move on now to step number 9. We're going to turn right. So it's very similar code. So let me zoom in. It's very similar code to the moving forward. So we did detect if the blue sensor is touching the black of the road. This time we're going to detect if the red sensor is touching the green of the grass. So the red sensor is the left sensor. Let me jump up again here. So if this sensor is touching the grass, that means we need to turn right because we're running into the grass. So that's what we're doing in this step. If I scroll back down. So if the red sensor is touching the green of the grass, we're going to turn clockwise. So in the direction clockwise, 10 degrees. So let me jump across to Scratch. So the easiest way to do this, you can, if you want, drag in the same blocks again from the toolbox, or you can right click on the if. So let me show you. So if you right click on the if, you can say duplicate and it'll create a copy of those code blocks and just put it in underneath, still inside the forever block, but underneath. So, and you can get rid of the move speed steps. So I'm going to throw that into the toolbox because I don't need that. So what I want to do again, I want to make the car big. So I'm going to set it to 100% and drag it back. So I want to get the red color, and so the first color in the color block is red, so the red of the sensor. And then instead of the black of the road, I want to just get the green of the grass. And then finally go into the motion toolbox and get a turn clockwise 15 degrees and change that to 10. Is that what we said? Yeah, 10. So now when I click on my green flag to load up my code, you'll see that the car starts, the red sensor is actually detecting when it's touching the green of the grass, and then it's making it turn 10 degrees. And once it turns 10 degrees, it just goes back to the blue sensor is touching the black of the road, so it moves forward 10 steps. So that's how it works. So if you want to go ahead and do that, add in that code. So again, you can add the code from the toolbox. So you can add the blocks in, the if, the color touching color, and then the turn 10 degrees, or you can just duplicate the previous if then that we put it in underneath it. And make sure you don't put it inside the other if then. Sometimes you can drop it in the wrong place. It's the new if then block that you create needs to be underneath the previous if then, so the blue and black if then, but inside the forever. Okay, let me mark my step as done, and we'll see how we're doing. So that's step number 9. So step number 10 is going to be turning left, and then we're going to add in some code to speed it up and slow it down, so we can change the speed variable, and then we'll put in a reverse as well. Oh, Isabel B got a GAA ball. Don't think I've seen that one before. Nice. So we're up to 18 coders have completed this step number 9, turn right. So keep going. If you haven't completed it yet, just take your time. Again, with the detecting and sensing the colors, you do have to get the exact color. So you can't just kind of guess the red of the sensor. You need to get the exact color using the eyedropper tool. So just set your car to be 100% the size, and then you're able to use the eyedropper tool to get the red of the sensor. And then just the green of the grass is the second color in that code block. Oh, Adam B's getting all the cool ones today. Space station, moon, nice. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next step, which is turning left. If you're still working away on turning right, that's fine. You can just listen in as I'm explaining what to do, because this step is nearly the exact same as the step to turn right. So again, we're going to just duplicate the if then block. So we've got a third one, and I'm going to make the car go up to size 100%. Instead of the red sensor, I want to get the orange sensor, which is the one on the right, and I can leave in the green of the grass. We're still going to do that. So if the orange sensor, which is the right one, is touching the green of the grass, I'm going to make a turn anti-clockwise. So I'm going to get rid of the turn clockwise 10 degrees and go into the motion toolbox and get a turn anti-clockwise, which is the third block in the motion toolbox. So turn anti-clockwise 15 degrees and put that as 10%. Or sorry, 10 degrees. So if the orange is touching the green, then we're going to turn anti-clockwise 10 degrees. So let me run my code. It's going quite, I'm not touching any of the way it's going at the moment. Mine is just touching the left hand side. So I'm going to actually force it to go into, of course it goes back to the start. I'm going to assume that works anyway. Once we add in the next step of making it go faster and slower, it'll definitely start going and touching the other side. So if you haven't already, you can go and start doing the step doing step number 10 to turn left. So again, it's pretty much the same code as turning right. So you're just going to duplicate the if then or drag them in again. And you want a color touching color block inside the if then. And you want to choose the orange of the sensor. So make the car big, 100%. So you can choose the orange of the sensor in the first color. And then you can just leave the green of the grass in the second one. You want to get rid of if you did duplicate, you want to get rid of the turn 10 degrees clockwise block and bring in a turn anti-clockwise block because you want to make it turn to the left. Okay, so we're up to 22 coders have completed that. So I'll just give a little bit more time before we moving on to the next step. The next step we're going to make it, we're going to control the speed. So when we press on the up arrow, we're going to change the speed by 1 to make it go faster. And when we press on the down arrow, we're going to change the speed by -1 to make it go slower. So that way, so we start off at speed 5, and that way we can make it go faster and slower. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down and see how people are doing. Really good, everyone. So we've 21 coders have completed that step. So I'm going to move on to step number 11. So this is a simple enough step. So we're just going to add in when up arrow key pressed, change speed by 1. So here, let me go ahead and do it. So I'm going to go into the events toolbox. Let me drag this to the side. So into the events toolbox, I'm going to get a when space key pressed, and I'm going to change the space key to be up arrow. So when up arrow key pressed, and then into variables, and I'm going to get change my variable by 1. Make sure you don't get to set my variable to 1, because all that does is it just sets it to whatever you say. It doesn't change it. It doesn't like add or subtract to the value of the variable. It just keeps on setting it to that. So you want to get change my variable by 1. Click on the little white arrow, so it says, and choose speed. So it's change speed by 1. So that's for the up arrow. I'm going to duplicate these, and I'm going to change it to down arrow and change speed by -1. So now when I click on my green flag and press my up arrow, you can see my car is shooting around. Okay, it crashed and didn't come back. So I can make it go fast, or down arrow, I can make it go slow, or even I can set the speed to 0 and that will make it stop. If you want, you can actually keep on going down and it'll set it to a minus figure, so it'll go back. Now, when it does run off the track, it won't know how to get back onto the track yet, but that is the next step. That's the next step that we're going to do in the code. We're going to detect that it's off the track and try and get it back on. So if you want to go ahead and do that step, if you haven't already, so you're going to go, so this is code that we're given to the car. All the code today is we're just giving it to the car sprite. You're going to go into the events toolbox and get when space key pressed and change it to up arrow, and then into the variables toolbox and get a change my variable by 1 and put that in underneath. But we want to click on the white arrow and select speed in that block, and then we can just duplicate those two blocks and change it to be when down arrow key pressed, change speed by -1. And once that's done, click on the green flag and give it a go and just make sure that it works. Test it out on your track by making it go faster and slower, and then come back and mark your step as done. Oh, I just got a flux capacitor. I quickly clicked off it. I wanted to have a better look. I'll wait for it to come up in the feed. That's a pretty cool one. Okay, so I can see 24 coders have completed the turn left. So I'll just wait for my stats to update and see how many have completed step 11. Okay, here we go. No, hasn't come up yet. Okay, here we go. All right, 20 coders already have completed it. I want to go back while we're waiting for give people a bit more time. I want to look at that flux capacitor one. It's pretty cool. That's from the movie Back to the Future, if you've never seen it before. I presume most of you have. Okay. Getting loads of thumbs up, so I think people are ready to keep on going. Again, if you're a little bit behind, that's fine. Just keep on going at your own pace. So now the next step is to detect. So we saw there in my stage, when I increased the speed and the car went off, it didn't know how to get back on. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in some code. So again, we're just going to add in another if then, so color touching color. And this time we're going to say if the blue sensor, which is the sensor in the middle, if that's touching the green, it means that the car has run off the track. It's no longer touching the block of the road. So what we want to do is we want to move -2 steps, so make it reverse. And because we want to make it turn around a little bit, otherwise it'll just go straight back in the same place that we ran off the track. So we're going to make it reverse and turn around a little bit. So we're going to use a turn 5 degrees clockwise. So I'm going to go across to Scratch. Again, I'm just going to duplicate the if then and put it down underneath. I'm going to make my car big again, so I can get the blue into the blue sensor into the first one, and then leave the green in the second, the green of the grass. And what I want to do is go into the motion toolbox then. I'm going to get a move 10 steps and put that inside, but change it to -2 so it reverses. And you can do either turn clockwise or anti-clockwise, it doesn't really matter, whichever one you want, and turn 5 degrees. So now if I load that code again and I speed up my car to try and force it to crash, anytime it crashes, there you kind of see it jerk a little bit and kind of jut back out, and that's it kind of correcting itself as it runs off the track. It reverses and turns around a little bit, so it doesn't go in at the same angle, and it'll continue on its way. So go ahead and do that step. Step number 12, which is the reverse. And that is the last step. I will quickly show you how to create other tracks and other racetracks and switch across to them. But I'll just give a little bit of time, just another minute or so, for people to do the reversing. Because I want to keep some time at the end here. I want to finish up around 12 if we can, and I want to give a little bit of time just to do the draw for the microbit. Okay, so we've 18 coders have completed step number 12. Well done. Just while we're waiting, I'll let everyone else know we've added another button. You might have noticed here a subscribe button. So we have a YouTube channel that we post different videos, and this is where we do our live broadcasts for the code alongs. So if you do want to get notifications for when we're posting new videos and so on, click on the subscribe button, open up YouTube and just click on subscribe. If you want to like the videos as well, that would be brilliant. Okay, so we're up to 20 coders have done that. So well done, keep going. If you are, keep going. Keep going to finish the project. So I'll quickly show you, so if I switch back across to Scratch, how we can do different tracks. So let me eliminate my head, and I'm going to choose the stage area here. I'm going to go into backdrops up the top left here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the backdrop, so I now have 2 of them, and I'm going to, what I want to do is keep the green grass but get rid of the track. So I'm going to choose the arrow selection tool and just select the track, and you'll see it kind of highlights it and selects it. And then you can just click on the delete button here, or press delete on your keyboard, and it'll get rid of it. And now I click on the paintbrush. So again, it has my settings from the last time. It's black and it's size 90, and you can draw whatever track you want. So I'm going to do a figure of 8, kind of make it a little bit complicated. What I would say though is you do want to have the road wherever your car is set to start, so that your car starts on the road. So there's another track, and now if I go back to my code and select my car, I'm going to just simply add in a little bit of code to switch across to them. So I'm going to go into the events toolbox and get when space key pressed. Let me drag that across. So when space key pressed, and then into the looks toolbox, and there's a next backdrop. So what that will do is it'll just move it on to the next backdrop. So if you have 3 backdrops, it'll start off at 1, then next backdrop it'll go on to 2, next backdrop go on to 3, next backdrop go back to 1, and so on, and it'll cycle through them that way. So now when I click on my space key bar, you'll see that it goes on to the next backdrop. There we go. So that is how you add in another backdrop and switch across them. So doing it that way, you can do more and more kind of, you know, difficult tracks and more complicated, and you can really see, you know, how the car is working its way around the tracks and sensing different things. And you might even come up with different ideas of, you know, how you can add in more code so the car is more intelligent. Okay, so as promised, let's do our giveaway. Let me go get the coders for today. So how many do we have? Of 24 here. And let me just get you into a list, and I'll bring it across so we can see. Okay, here we go. So 24 coders. So each coder's got a number beside them. So starting off with Adam all the way down to Vinia. So I'm just going to add some code to get a random number. So we're going to get this Anina dance person to tell us. Okay, so we're going to say when green flag clicked. Let me stop my car. And we're going to say for 2 seconds, and then say the winner is number, and we want to get a pick random 1 to 10, and where am I? We're going to change it to, so between 1 and 24. So this is going to be completely random. Everyone has the same chance of winning. What I will say is, because I think some coders here might have won a prize before, if it chooses a coder that's won a prize before, we'll do the draw again, and we'll just give 100 points to the coder that won the prize before. So because I want new people to win the prizes. Okay, so here we go. Between 1 and 24, who's it going to be? The winner is number 15. So who was number 15? 15 is MF83. So MF83 will send you an email just to see where we can send out to Microbit, and we'll post one of those in the USB cable out to you, so you can get coding on that. So thanks everyone for joining today. Hope you enjoyed it. We're going to do another one next week, the same time. We mightn't do Scratch. We might actually do a Microbit project, which they're pretty cool. But you don't even need a Microbit to code. There's a kind of simulator that you can use that kind of plays out the code. So that's what we'll do. So have a good day, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.